We are recording.
Amazing. So welcome to our October Youth Committee meeting. My name is Ron Dotse. I am the chair of the committee, and I could just go around the room and have people introduce themselves.
I'm Artie Malzio, I'm the community coordinator.
I'm Sarah Q. Rubin, I'm the district manager of Bronx Community Board 8.
Kevin Wade, board member.
Mario Cesar, I'm the vice chair of youth.
I'm Javon Treehern. I'm the CDP coordinator in Kingsbridge Heights Community Center.
I'm Summer.
I'm Kevin. I'm good at
Constance, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Constance Barnes, Community Board 8 member, Economic Development Committee, and Education Committee.
And I'm Eleanor. I'm a bridge coach at the Kingsbridge Heights Community Center. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Summer.
Amazing. Welcome. So our first order of business is just approving our minutes from September. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes?
Motion.
So motion,
Oh, yeah.
all in favor? I guess the three of us.
Yes,
All right, the minutes passes unanimously. Cool. All right, our next order of business, which is kind of exciting, is our Comeback Kid Award recipients. And we have our two lovely honorees here. So I'll start with Kevin. Your nominator mentioned Kevin is a shining example of resilience and determination. Has overcome significant challenges to emerge as a beacon of strength and inspiration. Despite facing personal academic hurdles, including family transitions and setbacks in basketball, Kevin has demonstrated remarkable maturity and perseverance. Through introspection and emotional growth, he was not only navigating these obstacles, but has also emerged as a leader both in his school community and his communities. Kevin's unwavering commitment to personal growth and leadership makes him a deserving candidate for the Comeback Kid Award. And we would like to present you with the award for the Comeback Kid Award. We're gonna do a picture at the end with
Should
both.
we do it now and do at the end, maybe?
Yeah.
Or after? It's up to you. What do you think? At the end? Okay.
Congratulations on behalf of Community Board 8. And then our next honoree is Summer Johnson. And Summer Johnson currently attends Abbathia Academy. Summer has taken a tremendous strides in her personal growth and development. As a youth who has engaged in KHCC programming since the 3rd grade, wow. Staff at KHCC have seen her transition from being a youth who rarely engaged with staff, often refusing to follow the rules in programs, and is not very welcoming to her peers. Since 2020, Summer began to change her attitude by taking school leadership activities and becoming involved in extracurricular activities in school. So, Summer, you are our second honoree. So, Community Board 8 presents honors you for overcoming challenges and working hard to improve your future. All right,
Congratulations.
So that's our two amazing honorees for our amazing Comeback Kid Award. Are we gonna?
Do we want to do pictures now, or?
We don't. Hi, how are you?
Bell, but I was ringing the wrong bell. Yeah.
Because we don't want them. Do we want them? They don't have to stay for the whole thing, yeah. We're gonna take the picture now, because that way you don't have to stay for the whole meeting. Unless you want to.
Should we pause the recording?
All right, so I'll take one of mine.
I did it from the top, yeah. So our next order of business is just the chair's report. So first, I would like to thank our vice chair, Caesar, for filling in at the full board meeting, giving a report on what we talked about here in September. I was observing a holiday, so I couldn't make it. But thank you, Caesar. I appreciate it. And our second thing is DYCD's CRED representative will attend one of our committee meetings either next month or December to give a presentation on the CRED program for older youth. That was the program that goes up until 40, right? And just thank you to Artie and the board office for setting this up to ensure that, you know, we're constantly getting DYCD to come to our committee and engaging them every month. And as promised, bye. Have a good one. Bye. As promised, I just want to go through general overview of the budget allocation for fiscal year 2025 for DYCD. Overall, DYCD's budget rose about $1.33 billion to $1.39 billion in fiscal year 2025, which is an increase of $6.12 million. And there's been a significant increase in youth workforce and career training. I remember asking Janae if there was if there's any cuts and how did that impact SYEP, but the budget has been increased. And there has been an increase in support programs for runaway and homeless youth, about 214,000. And the fiscal year budget increases funding for community development, runaway and homeless youth, and program service, which supports community development, youth increases, contracts with community-based organizations across the city, including initiatives like Comprehensive After-School System, known as COMPASS, youth employment programs, community economic development, and adult literacy and immigration support services. So I know we focused a lot on DYCD, but I'm a CUNY kid, so I wanted to touch upon, the budget in CUNY, especially for support for CUNY students. Oh, yeah, so I can send this over. There was a increase of $61.2 million from fiscal year 2024 to 25. And unfortunately, in contrast to CUNY, there were significant budget cuts to programs such as CUNY Accelerate, the Complete Program, Engage, which is ACE, and CUNY Reconnect. And these are programs that help students transition from high school to college. And I know my students are looking into these programs for support, especially students that have had some academic challenges. So these programs are supposed to support them. So hopefully next year there will be some reallocation to these programs, possibly. And that's all for my chair's report. So the next item on the agenda is our High School Senior Success Summit event. And I want to hand it over to Constance Barnes, one of our board members, just to talk about this event, because she's helping to spearhead it. And I just thought it was a really cool event when I came across it on social media. So Constance?
Thanks, Ramdat. So as Ramdat mentioned, a group of us, we are both DOE educators and CUNY, as you can see. Thank you, Ramdat, for mentioning ASAP and ACE, educators. And what we wanted to do was put together a high school summit in conjunction with Bronx Community College to support students who may not have made that final decision about what they're going to do after high school. So we have been fundraising, we have several proposals, but we didn't have a huge turnout of students. So as I mentioned to Ramdat, what we'd like to do, we are postponing it. We're holding on to everything. We're postponing it until later on, early spring. And what we want to do is work with different high schools in the community in the Bronx to make sure that we get students to show up and be supported, as well as their parents, because the morning we constructed it so the parents would be supported to understand the FAFSA process and what options are available, and then students would be supported in the afternoon. So you all have my contact information, and I will come back when we solidify the date. We're meeting this Saturday to choose a new date in conjunction with BCC, and I will be back to share. Thank you.
Thanks, Constance. Any questions for Constance?
Is this for the senior students that you're holding back for that are entering college, or you're trying to get the junior students to sign up or know the process?
Juniors, because seniors will probably be hopefully already on their way. But if there are a few that are still sort of out there and a little bit confused about what to do, we would welcome them too, but mostly juniors.
I have a question. How is outreach to the schools in the community and the surrounding community? How are you getting the word out?
So with the connections that we have, one of the board members, she is a former DOE instructional coach. So she's reaching out to principals. And then, of course, with my connections from being in the charter school world and DOE, reaching out that way, social media, and then word of mouth. And then we've reached out to different community boards that we have some close relationships to as well.
That was gonna be my question, Constance, is, this is Bronx-wide, citywide, what's the scope of this project?
Primarily the Bronx, but if anybody can get to BCC, they're more than welcome to come. Our target was to have between 50 and 100 students to attend. And so, like I said, because we put this together on a short timeline. We got the budget, we got the people who wanted to present, but we didn't have students. And so we want to push it back to make sure that we are able to support more students. Because again, I think it is a very valuable effort. As Ramdot mentioned, I work on the CUNY side now. I'm formerly DOE, but I understand what it means for these students who are sort of in that question mark, don't know about different resources that are available, and you want to make sure that those juniors have those resources and access to resources so they can make choices for post-secondary.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, there's been issues with the FAFSA application, I believe, last year. That's why I asked if seniors would be, because I'm sure they still have questions. Do you foresee that happening again this year, or are they working out the glitches that they had before?
I hope not, but I can't really speak to that. I think what has been happening a lot, and this is something where parents may not be aware of, there have been a lot of workshops and seminars just either locally or through different state agencies to help parents with that and help students with that. So I think, again, it's one of those areas where it's really important to bring people together to say, here are the resources and here are some things to support you through that.
Any other further questions? Well, thanks, Constance. Let us know when you solidify a date, and then we'll make sure we send it out to our listserv to ensure that we're engaging our juniors in that process.
Sorry, a question just came up.
There's a question.
Availability of language, so is there going to be interpretation at this, / if so, do we have an idea of which languages?
So far, Spanish only.
Perfect. Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Constance. We appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm going to hang out and listen.
Of course, of course. Now I want to pass it on to Eleanor from KHCC, just to be able to give some updates about KHCC and any programming you have coming up or applications, things of that nature.
Right now, the KHCC has just kicked into action, really. A lot of our programming so far is making sure that our seniors are prepped for, I work in the college directions department, so it's making sure our seniors are prepped for financial aid and for the free CUNY application week that's going on right now. So that's mostly what's happening. We also have a Halloween event coming up on the 24th. It's open to the entire community. Games, carnivals, there's a bouncy house.
Any questions for Eleanor? Eleanor, can you repeat that last part about the event? You kind of muffled there a little bit.
The HCC every year has what we call the Harvest Festival. It is a carnival / fair that we have. It should be on the 24th this year, and there will be a haunted house put on by our students. We usually have a bouncy castle. We don't know if we'll have one this year because of the weather. But there's games, there's prizes, there's raffles, things like that. It's both a fundraising opportunity, but it is the things like the haunted house are free admission to the entire community.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Any questions for KHCC?
We always reach out to you guys, for any events that our community offers for your students. So we're happy you always take advantage of that. And we thank you for always working with our board, for recognizing the students at your school. So thank you. Or at your school. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Eleanor. And I live not too far from KCC, so I'm always popping into a lot of the community events, and they're actually really cool. But thank you so much, Cesar.
No,
Anything?
Because I support here.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, you're more than welcome to stick around. The next thing is just some old business, looking at our committee goals and, something that we want to accomplish or any priorities we have. I know you all had close to about a month to think about this. Is there anything that, while you were, eating dinner that popped into your head?
Well, I'll volunteer.
Okay.
Front of the class kind of guy. Also, admittedly, probably have the least amount of history working with the youth out of the committee, which was part of my motivation to get on the youth committee. So maybe this exists already, maybe it's not possible, but one thing I was thinking about was some kind of surveying to see what the youth in our community is thinking about, is in need of, is questions about, and then we can kind of cater what we try to deliver to that. Again, I don't know if that's possible or if something exists already, but that's kind of what I was thinking about as a goal. Maybe it's ambitious, maybe it's fine, but that's my thought.
Knowledge there was no survey sent out.
We have many of them already.
No, Sisters and Brothers United is currently working on a Bronx narrative to tackle that exact. Sisters and Brothers United, the youth branch of the youth branch of North Bronx Coalition. There's always a struggle of, and we did our presentation with KHCC to a number of schools already, and I will try to get that information. But that one is very much more Bronx-wide, and as you know, the difficulty is you filling out forms. Doesn't always happen. But
I wonder if that form could be broken down by zip code. If it will be.
I'll follow the person.
Okay. That way we can, when the report is published, we can probably pull that information.
Yeah.
Based on the 10463, and why am I blanking on the other zip code?
10471, 10455.
Yeah, so those three zip codes.
Three zip codes.
Yeah, so we can pull the information on those three zip codes and, be able to look at that. Anything else? No, thanks, Kevin.
For that survey that Sisters and Brothers are doing.
I can get back to you on that, because while I know they've been working on it, I do not work with Sisters and Brothers United like that.
Okay.
So I will get back, I'm gonna be with them.
Okay.
Jesus.
Thanks.
I remember when I first joined the youth committee, one thing that we wanted to explore or possibly do was create like a youth handbook of like services that, there's one for aging, there's one for housing, and I think that's it. If I remember, right? There's
Yeah,
only,
parks.
oh, and parks.
Yep.
So I think that was something we had explored, and this was in 2020. When I first joined the board.
Yeah,
Wow.
nothing happened that year.
So that was something we wanted to explore. It didn't necessarily come to fruition. How do y'all think about a youth committee guidebook?
That would be lovely. I love both ideas, the survey, to see what, like Kevin was saying, so that we can be responsive, you know, rather than driving, the youth needs and wants. And, I think that this would be a great idea to do a youth handbook.
Yeah, so like, you know, I think, and obviously we can talk about the structure of it and like what content should be in it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's, you know, so we can give out it when we table. And, cause the one thing that I come across, is that parents are like, how do I find information about whatever, college? Or how do what services are available for my student with a disability? Or, you know, so I think it'll be really helpful to have that all in one, because I know parents have to go like a Google search and go down like a rabbit hole of like looking for, these types of services and programs.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to see, as a committee, us to have ACS be involved and DOE, to talk to us about what youth initiatives they're doing, and how they are not just doing youth initiatives, but youth and families. So if we can maybe do some outreach to those agencies to see, and aging as well. There are a lot of grandparents, with youth, and to see what's going on, how the Department of Aging is supporting, grandparents and youth in their work, yeah.
I guess a point of reference, or are we allowed to invite DOE since we're not education?
Absolutely.
Okay. No, I'm just like, oh, okay, I just wanna make sure, like, you know, I don't
You
wanna.
should always check maybe with the other committee to make sure you're not crossing over in
Yeah,
terms of overlap, but
Right.
I don't think you are at all with this.
Okay. So I just wanna make sure I'm not trying to,
No,
you know.
Maybe we can do a joint meeting with
Sure.
education and, you know, the youth committee.
Yes.
Council's like, yes.
Yes.
So yeah, we can probably do a joint meeting. I can, whenever we decide, I can always, you know,
Chat to
reach out
Sylvia.
Sylvia,
Yeah.
collaborate and, you know, set the agenda for that. So, you know, like, do you have a month that you would want to do that?
I just think, you know, with this time, it's getting to be close to a lot of stuff. And so, maybe we can aim for February, March, or March, April. And in between time, we can do some of the work on the surveys and the handbook.
So I'll reach out to Sylvia. I'll pitch February, March, or April, because I do know that budget stuff comes up in March, April, so I wouldn't, you know, I know that might be kind of difficult in terms of timing, but I'll pitch all 3 months to her and see what works best. Any other ideas?
Like, thinking about it, like, as a year, so, you know, like a year one goal, that's very much necessary, especially if we're saying that if we're not working from previous goals, then it's just the question of what is the baseline of what should we be doing?
Mm-hmm.
The only way to get that baseline is to get the data, hey, you, what are y'all thinking?
Right.
And then from there, it actually helps us develop the handbooks, it's like,
Mhm.
hey, we heard these things from you. And these are the things they actually want more resources around, and whether we can find them, because they're in the area or they're not in the area, then that becomes a question of, for future priorities and goals, like how we bring these resources to them. Like, we're gonna hear a lot around, like, or we're gonna hear some stuff around, like, employment, because that's one of the big things I hear, so
Right.
the next set of goals are something like, what are the opportunities for employment?
Mm-hmm.
And I can just add to that, you know, when you create a resource guide,
you can always update it. So from year to, that's what the other committees have done, they've really just updated the guides they set initially. Those are all great ideas, but don't be limited by waiting for more stuff, you can always update.
Yeah, good point.
I just wonder about the scope of the, and this is way ahead because we haven't even, done the survey or kind of figured out, but I guess my question is, how much is it gonna really be youth-focused versus youth and parents, resources for parents to support youth in doing, stuff towards education, higher education, employment opportunities, that kind of thing? Are we going to specifically really just focus on youth, or are we going to be supporting parents as well in the handbook?
I think having resources with parents is, I think it's a good idea. I think parents who have kids who are transitioning or lesbian, gay, bisexual, and they're always looking for support groups. So maybe having resources there, resources part for parents, going over any other topic. I think that'll be helpful, helping to point them into the direction of, these are some resources to help support your student or your child. But also, I guess we could break it up, right? Split it up into different parts. Anything else? I have a question, I guess, for Artie and Farah. Do we have a list of the student council advisor of all the schools in the district?
We started a list this summer of
Okay.
parent coordinators
Okay.
and principals of our schools in our district.
Okay.
We've been trying to get also on our list the parent association president.
Okay.
But what we want the student government.
Yeah, I guess the advisor.
But we can ask our intern
Right.
to do a project if you
Okay.
want. Sometimes the committee members do this, but
Mhm.
that is something I can ask our intern to reach out to the schools in our district if that's what you need. The, student council president, you're saying?
No, the advisor.
The student, guidance counselor?
The advisor who oversees student council.
Council advisors. Okay.
That way, I think we one priority for, that I wanted to do was make sure that we have more youth coming to the meetings, and I think we can start with our student council leaders, and make sure that they, make sure that their advisors are sharing that information with them, and then making sure they start coming, and tell us what they need.
I think just email us, the office, what you need exactly, and
Sure.
yes, we can organize that for you.
I guess we should think about, in terms of the scope of our youth handbook, what age group are we targeting? Because that's, there's a wide range, that's captured by youth, so we should think about what age group are we really targeting, and then kind of focus on that group.
So I guess what I'm hearing is, for the handbook, we have to decide what age, how we're gonna split it up, and also what type of resources will be in there. Right?
And maybe, maybe this is really super ambitious to be doing, the youth and the parent resources, in this first year, so maybe, as Farah was suggesting, this is an evolving thing, so we really start with the youth this year and focus on resources for the youth. I'm sorry that I'm not speaking to, the folks on camera. And then evolve out and put some parent resources in the, youth are gonna be interested in some of the same things, right, as parents, but then really maybe next year focus on the parents so that we are, not taking on more than we can really accomplish.
Okay.
I have a question. It's kind of half curiosity, and depending on the answer will drive the next question. But as far as I know, in our community board, Community 8, the colleges, we have colleges in this community, but they're private, I believe, all of them. Is there any, do we work with them, considering that they are private and we're like government city? Is there a relationship there? And the question, depending on that, is if there's not, should we be thinking about somehow bridging that relationship?
I actually don't know the answer.
Well, the two colleges we had, or universities.
The university, yeah.
Manhattan and University of Mount St. Vincent, we do have a very good relationship with. As far, I mean, we have meetings with them, they host us for community things. But as far as anything else, we don't really partner with anything.
We don't invite them to committee meetings or?
You can absolutely, we can put them on the list to make sure they're always invited to the youth committee meetings. But yes, you can create an agenda where you invite them to speak even, or, we definitely work with them, but more on community level, not,
Okay.
we haven't done specific events or anything.
Okay. I'm just opening it up that, I mean, we have two great colleges in our district, just something to think about.
And it would be lovely if we could build a relationship and maybe have, like, a work-study student, you know, work with us on the youth handbook, for example. They could be doing some of the legwork, so to speak. Because to make this really successful, I mean, it's so broad. You know, Constance can probably direct us in terms of CUNY, you know, stuff that we need to be thinking about, but there's probably a whole wealth of CUNY SUNY alone if we're focusing on older youth and we're focusing on educational resources. Yeah.
Constance has her hand up.
I was just going to say really quickly, for one of our economic development committee meetings, we did have the professor from the entrepreneur program at Manhattanville University. He came out and spoke and talked to us about some of their programs. So I know that Nick probably has a good relationship with him. Just as one area to bring in somebody.
We just met him at a press conference this week as well. He's very, very approachable and, you know, nice guy. What's his last name? Will?
Oh.
No, not
Well,
Will.
no, that's
The guy
supposed to
from
be.
Manhattan College.
Oh.
University, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely, we can definitely add Manhattan and Mount St. Vincent to our, because I have a close relationship with a person who runs the leadership program at Mount St. Vincent, which I'm thinking, like, you know, that could be somebody we invite in so they could talk about that program. But yeah, we just have to like define who we want to invite from both schools and not make it seem like we're trying to sell the university.
Right. And I have a new school that opened up at the University of Mount St. Vincent, and it is for kids. They basically, I think it's fully paid. It's a 2-year associate's degree, so they're trying to bring in more students that need it, that can't necessarily pay for it. So they just had their groundbreaking this year. I'd be curious to know, it would be great for you to have programs going.
Right.
It could be a resource to kids who might not be able to afford college. And that just started.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was happening.
Yeah, me
It
either.
just started, yeah.
And maybe that's what we can do too. I mean, I don't know. Again, just coming up with ideas. Maybe we can have a youth fair and have, you know, some of these programs in the community, and maybe some outside of the community, come to a youth fair and present, so to speak. Not present all stand up in front, but have little booths and young people can go around to the different, you know, areas that they may be interested in, and, you know.
So maybe having colleges,
Colleges.
community partners.
Community partners, LGBT, resources, organizations that support youth. We could have, a myriad of types of organizations there that are youth-focused.
I actually like that idea, too. And I don't think it might be that much of a heavy lift. It's just, the heavy lift is the contacting of the programs and agencies.
I can tell you that, it might be the same person Constance mentioned for entrepreneurship at, Manhattan College, or maybe you mentioned it, but if it's the same one, I know one of the professors that's head of that, and we're like best friends.
What's his name?
Winston?
Yeah, Winston.
Winston,
That's
oh, okay,
who it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
Yes, Winston.
Okay, perfect. That's,
Yeah, so, and then for the fair, we'll just be contacting and then trying to find a space that can host, a lot of tables, I guess, or booths.
And maybe one of the colleges will lend us the space.
True.
Yeah, they're very, we work with them all the time about using their space. So, yes, that would be good to reach out on that.
And when do you envision this youth fair happening?
Definitely, not now. That would to me be an April, May thing.
Okay.
And I think we over time, we should just get focused and figure out, are we doing the youth handbook? That's our focus, because I think, obviously, our committee is kind of small, and so our resources are gonna be limited.
Right.
Or are we focusing on the fair?
Yeah, so I was gonna say, it was like, for as much as it feels real, downplayed as like it is, actually work to organize and plan. But it was, we do workforce development versions of that.
Right.
But I do think that and the handbook also do go hand in hand, because who are the resources that are going in the handbook, but now these folks.
Right.
Like, as we're reaching out to them and they give us more of those information, that goes into the handbook that they're coming.
So maybe it is a project that goes really hand in hand, because we can literally take that and just like, okay, well, we can add this to this category of a handbook. Yeah. So I guess we want to focus on a youth fair and then slowly build a handbook over time.
that sounds good to me. I mean, the handbook will be built over time anyway, right?
Right. Okay, so I guess we're gonna move forward with the youth fair. So it looks, maybe our meeting will be that event, instead of having like a meeting that month. It'll be the fair itself.
Maybe talk to Sylvia about it too. And
Of course,
see
yeah.
what she thinks as far as the education committee
Right.
as well.
That would be great.
True. That makes sense. All right, anything else? Any new business?
What was the thing that was emailed to us earlier?
I did not check my email today.
The youth financial empowerment public hearing.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
So you want to mention about that, since you have it up?
Yeah, so November 14th at the Brooklyn Heights Library, 3:30, there's going to be like a public hearing, and people, it's like we were asked to spread the word about it. I will type this information out, especially because the address, it's just the Brooklyn Heights Library. The address it puts on it, 286 Caldman Plaza West.
So it's downtown Brooklyn,
Yeah.
at 3:30,
Plaza.
yeah.
The Department of Consumer and Worker Protection.
What day is it again?
It's Thursday, November 14th. Doors open at 3:30, it's from 4 to 6. It's a public hearing with Vilda Vera Mayuga, the Commissioner for DCWP. So presentations, panels, public testimonies. And that might also be like a good way of like, hey, if students, families, experts, and everyone are doing like presentations and panels, that'd be a good way to see, like, how does that align with the youth fair?
There is a registration date of October 25th as well,
Okay.
which is 4 days from now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Which is also for like interpretation purposes, accommodations.
Yep, so I guess we can share this information out, right?
You want me to send it to you?
Yeah, I just,
So we can send it to, you want us to send it to our whole,
Community, right?
yeah. I know it's in Brooklyn, it's out of the way, but I think people, you know, if they drive, or the 2 trains right there, not too far, it'll be a good opportunity. Any other new business? All right, is there a motion for adjournment? All in favor? All right,
Okay.
thanks Eleanor, thanks Constance for
Hi,
joining.
Constance. Bye,
Um,
Eleanor.
Have a great rest of your evening.